DD214 Network Podcast is for mature audiences only. Any videos, music, or entertainment not originating from DD214 Network is used and covered under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, also known as fair use. Opinions expressed are our own and do not represent any DoD or U.S. government entities as a whole. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. You are no longer alone now, because we have you.
We need to talk about barbecue sauce real quick.
Are you eating fucking barbecue sauce at fucking like 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock?
I am. I mean, look, it's cheap. It's Sweet Baby Ray's. It's not your Jack Stacks, but you know.
No, but that's still Kansas City style fucking barbecue sauce.
Yeah, look.
Fucking, I'm all about that shit. You know you ain't got to fucking worry about me, John. Like,
I know. Now, we were just talking about this right before the show. Squillini, I'm telling you, Kansas City loves barbecue sauce. It is in. They put it on everything. Everything.
It's in our bones. It's in our bones out here, bro.
The sweet. It's kind of like the Frank's Red Hot of the fucking of Kansas City,
bro.
They put this shit on everything.
I got into a fucking knife fight at the fucking local biker bar the other night, dude. When I fucking slashed the dude, fucking barbecue sauce started fucking oozing out, dude. It wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I love my barbecue sauce just like the next guy, but of course, you know, I'm from North Carolina. Our barbecue sauce is really fucking different. I'm not a big tomato-based sauce guy. I'm more of a vinegar-based barbecue sauce person.
And don't they use more? Is it Memphis or is it the Carolina style where they use it's more mustard like?
Memphis is mustard based.
Memphis is mustard. Okay.
What's Memphis barbecue sauce? Is that the spicy? Is that the type?
Sort of.
So Memphis is kind of a spicy mustard sauce where
also good.
It's like, good. I mean,
good.
I love all barbecue sauces equally. Yeah. I like to refer to myself as an equal barbecue sauce opportunist. But of course, growing up, I always ate North Carolina style, where it's more vinegar based. It still has, you know, your tomato puree and stuff in it, but it's a lot less, and there's more vinegar in a North Carolina sauce. It's not thick. But I mean, of course, if I'm gonna bake some chicken breast and I want to do baked barbecue chicken breast, I'm buying a fucking bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's, dumping that shit in the fucking pan with them, throwing them in the oven.
That's easy.
And calling it's a real quick, easy fucking meal.
Yep.
The Sweet Baby Ray's has tons of fucking flavor. But when I'm, you know, slow cooking my fucking pork shoulders, I make my own fucking bourbon style North Carolina sauce, vinegar based, that I based on my pork shoulders when I'm, you know, got them on the smoker.
It's good shit. Fucking, I like your fucking. But this week last week you were the Red Ranger, so this week we are the Green Ranger. Is that correct?
Yep.
Is that the Green Ranger? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The Green Ranger started as a adversary.
Yeah.
Did his like symbol change when he became a good guy?
No. So the symbol stayed the same. What it was the bad the main antagonist of the show had access to the green power coin, used a green candle where the flame burned black to control him. It didn't change until the candle burned out, and then he lost his powers. And then he ended up coming back in the second season as the White Ranger.
Okay, that's see, like I was just old, like just a little bit too old. So when the Power Rangers hit, like I was like out of middle school. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of past that part of like watching like the after school cartoons and freaking, you know, whatever. I was doing other stuff, and I remember parts of it because, you know, the TV was always on when we got home from school, but it, you know, I didn't retain as much, you know, because I kind of missed that little section because like I was transitioning into like, you know, being a teenager, and so like a lot of the stuff that I was into as a kid started falling by the wayside, and the new stuff that was coming out, the new stuff that was coming out did not appeal to me at all. So the Power Rangers unfortunately fell into that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the age difference in the show here with us, because when Power Rangers originally aired, I mean, season 1 was 94 to 95.
That would have been eighth grade going into freshman year for me. Yep.
And I had just started fucking the first grade.
Right. And I was gonna say too, and I'm old enough that when Power Rangers first hit, I remember thinking it was a fucking ripoff of Voltron. And that was back in, what'd you say, 93?
Yeah, and it was actually Super Sentai, actually.
Yeah, I remember when I was, you know, child of the 80s here, I remember Voltron. Like I had Voltron toys and shit when I was a kid and blah 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 and all that shit. I remember the cartoon, you know, vaguely I say, but I mostly remember the toys. You know what I mean? And that was like, what is that, John? John, what is that?
Salud. This is a Puerto Rican tradition right here, and we're doing it live on the air. This is very rare for me. We're having some coquito.
Okay, fuck yeah.
It is consider it a Puerto Rican eggnog. Salud, boys.
To you, brother. To both of you.
Cheers.
Fucking A. Good shit.
Yeah, and I'm having, you know, traditional white person eggnog with bourbon in it.
That's white people eggnog. That's literally just white people eggnog. It's gotta have like it's loaded eggnog basically.
So this is what we got here. We got
what is that made out of, John?
So there is Bacardi,
okay,
coconut milk. Oh, great.
Hey, that's gonna go into the fucking best of fucking.
I love you, John.
Yeah. So it is. Thank you.
Timestamp.
It's
minutes and 13 seconds into episode. Which episode number is this?
Oh shit! I got you. I totally
hey, baby, come here. Can you give us the ingredients of? Oh no! Oh, we can't do that. We can't. No. We can't do the recipe. It's a traditional.
Oh.
It's cream of.
You almost put your fucking dick in your mouth right there, dude.
What is it, baby?
Cream of coconut.
Coconut milk.
Sweet and condensed milk.
Carnation milk.
And then you make a tea of cloves.
Allspice, cinnamon.
You mix that with rum.
Mixture,
and that's coquito.
See, we're getting all the ingredients. They're just not going to give us the amounts of said ingredients. So that way, if we try to make it, we potentially will fuck it up.
Yeah, my wife's recipe is very special, and it is absolutely delicious. But it is the time of the Yule, so why not?
Is. We are now, I think, officially, as of like right now, we within the last few days, we just entered the actual 12 days of Christmas, which
we're on.
started as Yule, but it's basically the 12 darkest days of the year. It's the two darkest weeks of the year. So like up until the 21st, going into the 22nd. When we hit the solstice, it's fucking dark as shit outside for like this week and next week. And like, and it ain't going to stop until basically towards the end of next week. It'll start getting a little bit lighter outside again, finally. But people back in the day when, you know, there were no crops to do, you know, there's no real work. It's fucking snowy as shit outside. What do? The 2 darkest weeks of the year. You party your fucking ass off. That's what the fuck you do. All right. No pussies here. All right. Fucking, so that's why
right.
That's why we celebrate fucking the goddamn 12 days of Christmas. It's fucking
Yeah.
Yuletide. It's fucking Yuletide, guys.
It's hard to believe that we're already that fucking close to the fucking Christmas and the New Year. I mean, it feels like it was just yesterday we were recording our first episode of this year.
Yeah, it kind of does. Actually, that's me and it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Joe, especially that you're not exactly a new addition to the show, but in the time span and the time life of this podcast, you're a more recent addition. Me and John have had conversations about specifically why we do this once a week, why we go live, and it is a mile marker for our lives. And that way, when you turn around, you're like, where in the fuck did the last 6 months go? Well, me and John have 6 months worth of fucking podcasts. Be like, okay, that's what I was doing that week. That's what I was doing that week. That's what happened that month. You know, it's a guidepost. It's a guidepost. Like every 168 hours, we preach it. You know, and here in the church of the DD214 Network, we preach it, dude. Like it's like a fucking, it's like a check yourself, basically. You know what I mean? Like fucking check engine light doesn't necessarily have to be on, but you need to pop the hood fucking once a week.
And dare I say, Squilini has survived the test of time too, probably longer than anybody that
I was gonna say, I think I'm the
previous.
longest third wheel into the fucking podcast so far.
I was a little worried at first, and John can attest. I was a little worried. And Squilini, you have shown that you've definitely earned your stripes. And like John knows that I have completely like backed down from like any of my initial misgivings that this might work with the three of us. And it has been a pleasure to have you. And I'm glad that we've made acquaintance and we've made friends, and like it's become a lot more. And it's like because of you, Joe.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I was when I first was approached by John with the "Hey, you want to join us full time?" I was a little hesitant too, because it's like, hey, it's a big commitment to do something like this on a fucking weekly basis.
Typically same time, always live.
I actually remember, if I remember correctly, I think you took a couple days to think about it too.
So I took a couple days, and then I accepted the offer, but it was close to. It was actually right when I got full time with my company that I'm at now with my employer. Also, it was right around that same time. And I took a couple days, and then I had a family beach trip. So we waited for me to come full bore onto the show until after that beach trip.
Well, and you'd watch the show, and you know, like let's stop like, you know, ignoring the elephant in the room. Like, I'm not the easiest person to necessarily be around. You know what I mean? So it's like you also had you're not like
close to that.
Yeah, you should, John. Fucking like, I mean, let's just be honest. It's, you know, like I have my own misgivings and proclivities, and you were very familiar with the show before you came on, but there's also part of it is like on some level, like you got to deal with Jay. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like me and John are kind of like yin and yang, but because we're yin and yang, for a third party to kind of come in, you've got to be able to like kind of like spin around my tornado. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like
and like, I feel like, you know, that first few months, I just kind of, you know, I got into my flow. Me and you started doing our own thing. Like, there were times John just sat there and just kept nodding at his fucking camera because we wouldn't let him get a goddamn word in otherwise.
But that's always been the goal.
I told you to shut the fuck up, Jay, because you were over talking everybody.
Which I need to be told every once in a while, because I do.
The thing is, rant. I came in, I was told, here's what we're looking for. Here's what we need with you joining us. Mm-hmm. Are you up to the challenge? And I fucking ran with it. And we've got some great episodes of me and you just fucking bantering back and forth.
Oh God, yes. And that's one of those things too. And it's not easy. We never started this podcast with the intention of blowing up or getting huge or having these like mega mass follow. Like, we don't care about any of that stuff. It's more, this was like for us, this is for our brothers and this is for our brothers and sisters. It's a visual record of our lives in and some of the fun that we like to have, not necessarily our lives in general, just some of the fun we like to have. And we like to do stuff behind the scenes. It's a hobby. It's healthy. It's a fucking weekly check-in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're going to fucking do it, it's balls to the wall or not at all. You know what I mean? And that's like, and it is kind of a commitment to come onto this show every week and hang out with me and John. Cause me and John both don't play. Like we just don't play. That's like,
and you know, that's the thing. Like I joined the show and then I started helping John with audio related stuff, built John a whole ass fucking computer, which apparently he's been having issues with. That's not my fault. You've had it for over a year now. That's on you.
1 year warranty.
It hasn't been a year.
In February. 1 year's in February. Yeah. Because it was this tax season that I built it. So of course it's still kind of all my builds only come with 90-day warranties, by the way. Everything else is
I'm going to report you to the Better Business Bureau. 90 days.
Hey, that motherfucking computer's worked fucking great. It's just had a few little. Well, you thought it was overheating, and I thought
there was a 5-year warranty on this, Squilini. 10 years. 10 years.
Not for what I charged you to build the motherfucker.
Keep drinking, John. Keep drinking.
If you wanted the 5-year warranty, it would have cost you 5 times as much as what you paid for it.
Here it goes.
No, I mean, it's one of those things. Like I came in, I started doing my thing. I started helping out. I started making suggestions. I mean, fucking look at how I convinced John to fucking put hot fucking nuts in his mouth and get him to puke on fucking camera.
That I gotta say, like that I have to absolutely give you some fucking props for, because like,
and I will never do that again.
I'm sure you tried to get him to do like the fucking Pocky challenge with you before.
No, because the whole thing was like, I don't. it's like in the words of the great warrior poet Danzig, like I don't mind the pain. So it was kind of like that's how the whole thing started. Was like just having some fun watching me like suffer for a few minutes, you know. And that was kind of the joke. Back in the earlier days of the podcast, that's kind of how the joke started. And then of course, being the three of us, we started taking shit to like new levels. And that goddamn.
And we took it to that new fucking level, and then we said, never again are we going to this fucking level.
No more hot bellies, dude. That one, like it wasn't so bad once it was all over. And believe it, the next day wasn't even really that bad. Honestly, it sucked a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. But in the middle of it, when we were doing the show, and like you can go back and watch that fucking episode. It's Easter nuts in your mouth. I forget what the number was, but it's called Easter nuts in your mouth. If you watch that episode, there's like a 20 to 30 minute period where like I basically black out, and it's like because I was sitting there just fucking suffering, and like I couldn't even talk at one moment. I was just like making random grunting noises, and like I don't need to do that. I'm getting too old for that shit, dude. I don't need to do that anymore.
No. It was the.
Oh yeah, and you put it in the intro when I was like fucking.
Gargling the nuts of the air, bro.
Yeah,
like
gargling Satan. Yeah, gargling Satan's ball sack, dude. Like that shit fucking sucked.
If you were gargling Satan's ball sack, I would expect your head to be down, but your head was up. So,
well, he was fucking teabagging. It's he's standing.
Oh, okay. He was
like a giant angel, bro. He's like a giant angel. Like if he stands up and I stand up, his dick's still in my face. You know, like it's right here, bro. Like it's like fully standing. Like. You act like you never seen the devil before, dude. Like, don't be scared. All right.
Listen, I've been watching a lot of
devil in the pale blue.
My wife and I just finished The Chosen, so I mean, we haven't seen Satan yet. But you know, someone
they haven't taken Jesus onto the fucking the pinnacle and for the
no.
Oh,
the only thing that there was this one scene that the scene was so dark you could barely see anything but a snake coming towards Jesus, and then that I assume was something. Oh, and everyone was dead. Thaddeus, Simon, yeah. So everyone was dead in that one, but it was kind of interesting. But
you're still enticed. I haven't watched it yet. You're still enticing me though. You are enticing me.
So I mean, look. All right, it is a 10 out of 10. Production wise, it is for a company. It's the people that made Sound of Freedom. Remember that whole crazy thing that came out, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
I know Squilini knows what I'm talking about. It's the same people that made that, the same production crew, and the show was written by a Mormon, a rabbi, and a rabbi, and just a religion and a Christian. So three different types of religions write this show. So they find a way to respect it, even though it's based on the New Testament.
Mhm.
But the production is fantastic for whatever little money that they have to make this. It looks really good. The writing is fantastic. It's funny. It's a comedy.
So
What
a
is it on
Mormon,
it?
a rabbi, and a Christian walked into a bar. That's
Yeah.
pretty much the.
What
Yeah.
what streaming service is it on again?
We're watching it on Prime, but
Okay.
I believe it's available on like 5 or 6 different platforms. I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu as well. It's not just an exclusive. At one point, there was no one wants to pick up this show.
Well,
Yeah. So
anytime you're doing like the religious, did you slightly related, slightly not related? Did you guys ever watch like the entirety of Vikings? Like the entirety of it? Like
I really
going back
want
to try to rewatch and
the first
go
so
through
like,
the entirety of it.
there's a little bit of a lull, but like, and there's several seasons, but I remember it starts with the story of Ragnar, and that spans several seasons. And when the story of Ragnar is kind of over, they continue on with Ragnar's sons, and that goes into like the great heathen and the great heathen army, and like the invasion of the British Isles by the great heathen army. And I haven't seen the last few seasons, and I've always meant to. I watched it a lot when I was in the army at different junctures, and there's some really powerful episodes, and there's a lot of artistic license because a lot of the Viking history has been lost, you know what I mean, to time, but they kind of like took some liberties with it. But it was the three of us maybe should do that. Like we should find where Vikings is, and like all three of us should go back like season by season and freaking like we used to like just give updates on like show, and like I'd be and I need to check out The Chosen. Like it sounds like a good show basically. Like it'd be fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is some very fun stuff. I mean, we're up to the new season comes out February. We're all called up, and the last episode
how many seasons are there so far?
3 seasons, and it's three seasons, and they've confirmed that they're going to 7 seasons. They have it written to 7 seasons, with the 6th season being the crucifixion, and then the 7th season being his rise.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, right now we just had Jesus walk on water, and we just had him break up fights in the Decapolis, and that pretty much ended the 3rd season. Look, it's not a spoiler, guys. It's in the Bible. This stuff happened in the Bible, so I'm not spoiling nothing. All right, but I as a show, watching it as a show, it's actually quite enticing. And they just started showing the Roman Empire and Caesar's legion, so that I'm actually kind of excited to see where we go with that in the 4th season now. And kind of a cool show to watch during the holidays too.
So I mean, I guess we'll kind of segue off of The Chosen here then. Since, we're talking about shit that we've watched recently. So I actually last night I decided we get done. We went out to dinner with some friends, got home, cracked open a beer. We sat down on the couch and watched the Gran Turismo movie, which is on Netflix now.
Oh yeah? How was that?
About it. I really want to watch it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say there's any spoilers because it is based on a true story of something that happened.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, they did change the story up a little bit and made it seem like this was the first GT Academy competition for the movie, where the guy that they're following in this, Jan Mardenborough, it was actually the 3rd ever winner of the GT Academy competition.
But they made it like he was the first. Is that kind of like
what they kind of developed the show as if he was the first. He might have been the very first like successful winner of it.
Yeah,
who actually went on and won, real races.
Actually won a fucking race
and still races. I believe he still races to this day.
Yeah, he's still racing to this day. He actually the real Jan Martinborough, he actually did the stunts for that movie. So anytime the car's being driven on the tracks or anything, it's him in the driver's seat.
That's fucking cool.
The stunt double. So
it seemed cool. It seemed kind of like a what do you call it? Like a little kind of like a motivational, inspirational type movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it was like follow your fucking dreams, and like keep
that's what
stars.
I would say it really is it's that motivational, it's your dreams might seem unattainable, but nothing's ever unattainable if you don't try. Kind of situation.
Was it believable?
He worked his ass off.
Yeah, was it believable? Did you feel like, if you were watching a documentary instead of a movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's
I would have it was in my opinion, it was a documentary style turned into a cinematic movie. So we're going through, they cover a little bit of his family life up until he goes to the academy, him winning the qualifier and getting his spot at the academy, working his way through the academy, how he was like at the very bottom of the totem pole. And then when it came up to the final day, he just fucking beat the last 5 people that were in the running to get a spot on the team. So it was a good movie. David Harbaugh, who played fucking Viking Santa in Violent Night, he was the chief engineer for the academy. And even his character in that was fucking amazing. He was very like down to earth. Like, I don't know why we're taking sim racers and putting them in a, couple ton fucking moving death trap, trying to get them to actually race a real car. But fuck it, you're going to pay me, I'm going to do it kind of situation.
Well, there are things that are happening with technology and video games where I can see the connection between motor skills and quick response time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's one of those things where I think there's going to, like we had like the milsim stuff when we were in the Army. You go to the fucking little computer box and you shoot at the screen and stuff like that. With the added element of like VR, pretty soon, you're just gonna attach a little thing to your fucking to the Picatinny rail on your M4, put a fucking headset on, and go into a room with your buddies, and you're gonna fucking be able to like simulate and do stuff. And like, how many fucking bullets does that save? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how many bullets does that save? That you don't have to actually fire. You don't have to fire fucking blank rounds. You don't have to fire live rounds. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to accidentally fucking get shot in the back.
I will always say, no matter what, weapons quals, that's always going to have to require real rounds at the range. Mm-hmm. But as far as like, if you're going to go and you're doing, say, room clearing procedures, instead of using the fucking blank adapter and the fucking LiDAR gear and all that shit to go into a mock village, you just go into a giant fucking room with screens and fucking VR goggles or whatever, and virtually do it to where you're not.
You can go in full kit, just attach a fucking like a pair of goggles or whatever, and attach something to your weapon. And once you have that little thing on your weapon zeroed, that's it.
I used to love going into like those mock villages too, like. Because I know there was a few of them in Fort Benning that they had over on in the red sands, right? The red clay. And they would bring us out for the fields, and they would bring us to these mock villages out there. And just going into the field, just knowing that nothing was gonna happen, passing through those little villages, I would be scared shitless that some shit was gonna happen. And it's just like I feel like that will always give it that realistic adrenaline instead of
Yeah.
putting it over a headset, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but I'm looking at it from the Army has a fucking esports team now. Like,
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
it's one of those
I'm
things where,
sorry, but it's
as
nothing impressive.
but as technology advances, the military's advance with it. The military typically advances a lot later than the technology advances itself.
You don't say.
Yeah, I know, because when I went through fucking basic training, we were still using fucking Vietnam era fucking flak jackets. So, yeah, I know, but that's the thing. It's one of those things. Eventually, they're going to adapt something like that, some kind of technology for training purposes to save money in other areas. Because if we're not having to spend billions of dollars on fucking blank round to supply to all the units to go into these mock villages, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be some brass high up in the fucking Pentagon somewhere.
And you can even forward it to where like you can design, like the level you're on in as the actual training area that you're going to be training in with blank and live rounds. So you can you can simulate it. So it's like, so you could do like your dry runs. You can do your dry runs through, like it's when you talk about you get better with stuff. You get better at stuff with repetition. It's all about reps, and that's
right.
and especially when when you're talking about like frontline units, combat units, the infantry, different various MOSs. It's
even
like
when I was me as an MP, I mean, the amount of
there's
time
so
we
much.
spent.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you can do and get reps on, and you don't have to do it necessarily freaking like.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, it's all about reps, and it's like, it's coordinated movement, muscle memory. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I've been super curious though, because I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with like the heavy milsim airsoft things that go around, right? And it's big in North Carolina, especially. Like I always wondered, I've always wondered, because like it's probably the safest, most realistic type of training that you can do. Why doesn't the military utilize that?
We do.
It is utilized. So my last unit I was with, we used airsoft a lot in the mock villages versus
blanks.
Versus blanks with the adapters and shit.
We have
using that.
We have rounds in the infantry that fire from our weapons, and they're paint rounds.
The paintball rounds.
But you have to wear a face mask, but we do that. And like,
interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
I can't tell you how many times in the infantry we've done those type, like typically it's almost always like in a mock village, but occasionally it'll be a different type of objective or mission, and you'll be doing it like in more of like a wooded or a out in the wilderness kind of thing away. But a lot of times when we do like mock villages, you'll have people hold up. You'll have the OP4. The OP4 is hold up in different buildings, and we have to go in and clear the village.
Yeah. So from an MP perspective, like we would use it more like in hostage situations, like we're doing mock-ups of a hostage situation. Because part of an MP's job when they're stateside is, say there's a big, there's a disaster recovery, or say any type of potential terrorist threat or anything, and local governments can't handle the situation properly, they'll pull active duty MPs in to help with hostage situations and shit like that. If the town doesn't have a proper SWAT unit or they don't have the resources to do it. So a lot of the times we would use the airsoft or the paint rounds in our weapons to simulate those types of situations. Us clearing a building. We had a old decommissioned bank that was right off post that we got permission that I guess the government bought the building And instead of flipping the building around, we would use that for those types of simulations.
Nice.
So there'd be times where people would be driving down the street and there's, 40 of us in full fucking battle rattle in town fucking out of bed.
Damn. So you guys just helped me confirm something. Third ID was just broke.
Well, I mean, and you have to remember too, like depending on your MOS,
Yeah.
you're not necessarily for instance, when I was with the engineers,
Yeah.
I did a lot of training with the engineers. A lot of their money was allocated towards explosives and stuff like that. So we would go to the field. We never used paint rounds in the field. I'm not saying no engineer units use paint rounds.
Yeah.
I'm saying when I was there with the units I was with, when we would go to the field, we never used paint rounds because we were usually doing shit with like fucking C4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
doing sapper big boy shit. Yeah.
It's 100%.
Or you use blanks basically, or you use blanks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really like, and that's like, so we always had blanks, always had blanks.
Mm-hmm.
But the type of training we were doing in the field for that particular FTX never revolved around like clearing a village or, there wasn't a lot of CQB. You know what I mean? There really was not. There really was not. It was a lot of where with the MPs, when I was with the infantry, it was fucking like every other goddamn FTX. Like we would do different shit.
We would go out in the fucking field for a week, come back, have another field training exercise a week later or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, one field training exercise, we're just going out there and roughing it for a fucking week. We're not really doing too much over the top shit. The next one, we're going out and we're doing milsim fucking level events where we've pulled in other units to play OPSEC. We're, I mean, there was countless times we had fucking the cooks play OPSEC for us.
Op 4, dude.
Op 4, yeah.
Op 4. Sorry.
Fucking brain got the dumbs
today. That's okay.
Yeah, it's just so interesting.
We're drinking. We're drinking.
I've done paintball. I've done a little bit of airsoft before, and it's just like I've never. I mean, the only like when we would do the trainings, we had the the big old screen with the wind weapons, like the little Nintendo rifles. That the fucking M4s, bless you, the M4s that were modified, literally like Nintendo guns with the screen. They have the little screen and blowhole at the end.
Huh?
And that I mean I'm not gonna lie to you. I hated that one. But if it was always like hands-on training, like when we would go to Little Iraq in Fort Benning, like that was pretty fucking cool. I think one of my favorite ones I actually remember. I'm sorry if this is OPSEC. Just saying that this little area. Yeah,
it won't be now. That no. That's no. That's
So this area in Fort Benning, it is huge. There's a like I remember there being.
It's not like you're giving out exact fucking coordinates on a map or where it's.
That's true. Yeah. So
there's little websites. There's literal websites on the internet like dedicated to like the different training areas, like YTC in Washington, NTC in California, GRTC in fucking Louisiana. Like you're good, dude. You're good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why my camera froze, and I'm like in a funny dance.
It's kind of a cool little. It's kind of a cool picture. Kind of like that. Have to blow that up someday, John.
Oh, the camera program froze. Well, anyways, I'll never forget though. There was a big fountain in the middle, and then a couple buildings surrounded the fountain. And I remember,
there you go, you're up,
motherfucker. And I remember sitting there thinking like, yo, like they really put like a lot of effort into this. And I've always thought like this could be a nice little place where they could film movies and TV shows and training videos and stuff like that. But they always did like the bases always did such a good job having a small set to train on and make it as believable as possible.
Yeah. And that's like now we'll get into some OPSEC. There's like there's stuff that like I'm not even gonna get like too detailed about, but like it goes even deeper than that. Where like they'll have like they'll make it into a fucking like moving working town basically. Like the higher you go in the hierarchy of combat arms, they will make it as believable as possible. Freaking like. We're talking like just and that exists, and like I've been on a couple of training scenarios that were not all the way there, but they were close enough. They're just close enough. And that's what the training is for. It's for reps. It's muscle memory. It's fucking, you run through the scenario, you get to the index, then you go back and you fucking talk about what happened, and we talk about what we did right, we talk about what we could have done better. Okay. Suggestions for fucking next time, like, and then we do some highlights and lowlights, like fucking,
yep.
Hey homie, you were fucking spot on here. Fucking, hey bro, fucking, like, you got to fucking cut out the clip clap over here. All right. Like that was bad juju, whatever.
Yeah.
And you finish your AAR, you go back, you take a knee, fucking eat a fucking power bar, and you fucking get ready to go in the shoot again. You know what I mean? And that's training. And that's, if you're doing that job, like whatever that job you signed up for, if you're doing that job, you have to take it seriously. And the only way you can take it serious is fucking in training. And a lot of people hate fucking FTXs and hate just the constant, like, it's just the routine. It's the same thing over and over and over again, and they make it suck on purpose. They make it suck worse.
Yep.
They make it suck worse on purpose.
And that's when the soul starts coming out.
That's, yeah. And it like, that's what it's for though. It's to instill that inside you. Like when you're on the mission, like the mission is what comes first, no matter what. Like that is whatever the mission is, it's the mission.
This brings my next question too. What was a training that you did and this for both of you guys, was there a training that you guys were just like, wow, this fucking sucks, I never want to do this again?
Yeah, in a couple different ways. I mean,
that's an extremely loaded question.
Yeah, I was fond of training, so I typically, and I'm not saying I never had a bad day in training. I'm not saying I didn't wake up grumpy as shit some days, just fucking iced out. I'm not saying I got fucking tiny heart syndrome. Never, because it happens to everybody. Shit happens in the field. Typically, I enjoyed going to the field though, and I'd look forward to it. The ones that I really regret, or like that I really, like left a really bad taste in my mouth, unfortunately, like kind of revolve around others. And so like I wasn't directly involved. I was in the field. It was a battalion level training event. I was in the field and I was on the same range when a training death occurred. So that one was like, that one stung a lot.
That sucks. Sucks.
Cause like that was like, that's like when shit, like this is how real it is. Like when you're on a live fire training range and you're doing live fire shit, like accidents can and do happen on a long enough timeline. You know what I mean? And like it happened on one of the ones I was on. And then, a lot of the ones that I it's hard to quantify. Like kind of Joe said, it was kind of a loaded question. Cause like,
yeah,
as much as I enjoyed training, there's always a few events where you're just kind of like, okay, what the fuck are we actually doing here? Like this really, and I don't like disparaging, the Army but we all know, like sometimes you have, whether it's poor planning or leadership or X, Y, or Z, it's very nuanced, but one little monkey wrench can throw the entire thing into a fucking like, and it can break the whole thing down basically. And it like, yeah, I've experienced that too. And like what I was going to say on the other one was, we went a week ahead into the field. My platoon specifically, we went a week ahead of everyone. And again, this is a battalion level training event, in a different year. And so we were already out there for a week. Everybody else finally fucking gets there. And we were promised, like, once we finished our quals, because that's what we were doing, we were qualifying. Once we finished all of our quals, freaking, like, we got to go back to the rear and go home ahead of everyone, right? This was very, like, distinctly promised, like, all the way up the chain. I was sitting at home on my couch. I had just gotten home. I had just cracked a tall boy. I'm like playing with my tiny children that I like never see. You know what I mean? Like they were babies at the time. And I got a phone call from my platoon sergeant, said, "We just got recalled to the field. Get your shit, pack it up. We got to go back." I will never forget that. I will never forget like the absolute like how far down the toilet my morale went. And it was like, and by the way, we did nothing wrong. This was not like a bad. It was like somebody up top, the BC, right, was like, no, the battalion staying in the field together until the end. And it was like, then why the fuck? Like what? Like we were just like, that was the carrot that they dangled in front of us, and then they snatched it after we got home.
Damn.
Like we went like I had just like I lived in Pueblo, like 40 minutes away from Fort Carson. So by the time I got home, by the time I got my clothes changed, by the time I sat down on the couch, cracked a beer, I got a phone call and it was like, "We got to go back."
That's fucked.
Bro. And so it's like, yeah, like my bad field experiences kind of revolve around not necessarily out of my, it wasn't really in my control. You know what I mean? Like, so I was yeah.
So I'd have to say, one thing, and I'm going to start with, one thing I really did enjoy after I, got my stripes was once I got to that position where when it was qual time on our weapon systems, being the, range NCO, being the NCOIC for the qualification ranges, the one qual that I would never volunteer for after a bad experience,
grenades.
I'm not going to go into super details, but I was on a joint task base. So, we had Marines, Air Force, Navy, Army, full bird Air Force colonel. Total dumbass. That's the extent I'm going into after that experience where I had to evacuate the fucking bunker because his dumbass dropped the fucking live grenade at our feet. I would never volunteer to fucking be NCOIC for a fucking grenade range again.
Oh shit.
Because I want to be as far away from the live hand grenades when people were fucking learning how to throw them.
I think that was my, I never got to be a drill sergeant, but I remember already having like a pre-instilled fear of having to be like the one like in the box with them when they're learning how to throw.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's
we had a guy in basic training drop his grenades, both of them. In fact, like the little canisters that the grenades are in, it's like a thick cardboard. First off, it's like a thick cardboard, and he's holding them on his chest like this, holding them like two breasts, and he's running and he trips with both of them, and both of the grenades fall out. And the drill sergeant just looked at him and was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And then he picked them back up. And when he goes to throw the first grenade, he drops the grenade after he pulls the pin. And he grabbed the trainee by the back, like the bottom part of the back of his bottom part of the back of his vest, and threw him to the ground and tossed that grenade so goddamn far. The Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah.
The Hulk Hogan throw.
When I was in basic training, one of the places where the trainees go with the drill sergeant in the little box, was closed and roped off, and you could see where like somebody had dropped a grenade and it had gone off inside that fucking. So there was like shrapnel fucking damage on the inside. So it was relatively recent because they still had it roped off. It was like fucking
wild.
Yeah.
Grenades don't play, dude. Grenades don't play.
I loved throwing grenades.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
I did not love being in the box when people were learning how to throw grenades. Totally different fucking ball game there.
I can send you guys a video of me throwing a grenade right now. You know what I mean? But yeah, like they're real fun, but they don't fuck around. They don't play. Like, and they don't discriminate either. They don't discriminate.
I have
they
to
are
say,
totally a danger base.
This is going to be now. I've only went the extent of throwing one through training, okay, but that's okay.
That's one more than fucking like 98.999% of the world. Fucking.
So I have to say, I have like this weird like, and I wish I could feel it today. Just the way that the grenade warms up in your hand, and you feel that slight warmth right before you throw it, and you're just like, I want to feel a little more of it, but I know I'm gonna die if I do.
It's a danger baseball.
Yeah, and it's kind of like how I love the smell of a weapon after it shoots. I love the smell of carbon. Yeah, cordite. Yeah, cordite. I really just really enjoy. I used to remember like in training just shooting, and that was my high. Maybe
when you guys make it out of Kansas City, we should go shoot Excalibur, dude. My M4.
Yeah, I would say my favorite out of everything military related is the fucking gun oil.
I have to agree with that.
Like I would wear that shit as a fucking cologne if I could.
Hey,
it just screams fucking man. Like it is a really manly fucking scent.
How do you think that would be attractive? I think it would.
Probably maybe to some types. Depends on what region of the country you're in. I wouldn't take that shit. I wouldn't take that shit to the coasts. You know what I mean?
But, yeah, like you're not going to go to fucking California or Seattle or fucking out to the fucking West Coast.
No,
and
like
spray on your fucking
now maybe
lube fucking perfume.
Now maybe out here in the fucking Midwest,
Kansas City, in the South, Texas. I'm pretty sure in Texas it'll be a big fucking seller.
That shit'll fucking
you just shot a weapon.
That shit'll fucking drop some panties out here, dude. Yeah, I'm sure. Fucking
fuck.
Good smell. I mean, every now and then, like when it's like really nice out on the nice like when it's like that perfect summer weather where it's like a good like 73 to 76. And you just smell your old base, like that. You know how like the brain remembers things sometimes, and like you breathe something in, and you're just like, oh, I remember that from 10 years ago. I'll never smell that again. And it's just such interesting smells that you go through in life, and some of them that really like you come back and they trigger you, and you're just like, oh shit! Like I smell Fort Jackson all the time for some odd reason.
That's kind of cool though. Kind of cool.
I mean, like another thing, manly scents, bourbon, burning campfire wood.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Cut grass. I love the smell of fucking fresh cut grass.
Smell of the city when it's on fire.
That too. What's that like navy blue? That navy blue type scent. It's like a very aquatic and not minty. But kind of like nicotine like. It kind of feels like what nicotine would smell like.
I mean, shit, man. I haven't taken shrooms in a while, dude. Like you
gotta be a
little bit more specific.
I've never tripped. I've never tripped before.
It's been like 2 decades for me, dude. Like literally like 2 decades. It's been a long fucking time.
The only reason why I won't take I won't trip or take a mushroom or an acid or anything is because I'm afraid. I'm fucking afraid.
You should be, dude. You don't want to, dude. You do you really want to stare in that mirror, John? Because you will stare into the mirror.
I don't want to go into my own.
All you're gonna see is yourself, dude. In the end,
yeah.
All you're gonna see is yourself.
I don't want to.
This is how much I like bourbon and burning wood. This candle is bourbon and oak.
It's bourbon and what, Joe?
Oak.
Okay.
So it smells like I'm burning an old whiskey barrel.
That's a nice combination.
It is. I would agree with that.
It's a scent combination that works because both scents go together anyways, because you're aging whiskey in a toasted oak barrel. So,
hey, Joe, you want to know how I know you're gay?
First off, I'm not fucking gay. Second off, go fuck yourself, Jay.
I love you. I love you. I love you, Joe. I love you.
Now, if you had a little caramel in there, then we're asking questions. I like caramel, so
You guys are awesome. John, I want to hear from you. I want to hear, like, we were talking about like shitty fucking field stories. What was your worst fucking day in the DFAC? And I need to go grab a beer, but I want you to think about it for a second. Your worst fucking day as a cook in the DFAC, like the fucking worst one. I want to hear about like the worst day.
You know what's real funny that he asked that, because my worst day was actually my best day. Man, you know, so I'll start it off like this. There is no Thanksgiving like a military Thanksgiving. You know, like.
Well, it depends, because
it does depend. It does depend.
Military Thanksgivings depending on the branch.
You're right. You're right.
The Air Force and the DFACs for the Air Force for Thanksgiving, it's steak and fucking lobster on, the fine china. In the Army, you're getting a traditional Thanksgiving fucking feast.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny that you say that, Jay, because my worst day was my best day. And a lot of things actually happened this day in the Gibson dining facility. Someone dropped a pot of hot oil on the floor.
Oh God.
And the general and two generals saw it. There was a lot of food that got wasted. There was a fight, but I'll never forget being there at Gibson dining facility. We left at 9 p.m. that night, day before Thanksgiving, and they said, "All right, see you at 3 a.m." And and this wasn't like, because in the DFAC, what a lot of people don't understand is that in the DFAC, depending on the amount of available soldiers in the DFAC that are cooks, they try to do shifts. So we tried to do 3 shifts, but the problem with 3 shifts is doctor's appointments, people with kids. It was always they tried so hard to work. Yeah, always shorthanded. So we went with 2 shifts. You either work from 4 to 3 p.m. or you work from 3 p.m. to like 7 to 8 p.m. Real shitty. The morning shift sucks. Thursdays, Thursdays, depending where you are, was training day. But this specific Thanksgiving, we all had to be there. All NCOs, NCOICs, every private specialist.
All hands on deck.
And we started off the day, and no one prepared the turkey overnight. They didn't stuff it. They didn't, the only thing they made was gravy and like got some corn prepared. But the most important part was not ready. And thank God for me, for the first couple of hours, I worked in the salad bar, which was the section that I was truly proud of. I, cut the salad. I only tossed the salad when we got home. All right. That's,
Fuck yeah.
Thanksgiving starts and it's a complete shit show. The line is out. It's going past. So if you guys know, I'm pretty sure Fort Benning, Kelly Hill, there is a hill going into Kelly Hill, and the line was all the way out there. There was no parking. People were asking questions. Seating was all over the place. Half of us didn't even get to eat until halfway, like maybe until like 3 p.m. You can't snack during that time. You have leaders, you have lieutenants, colonels, generals around you. That to me was the worst work day, because everything that should have went right went wrong. But in saying all that, the reason why it was the best work day at the DFAC was because we still found a way under pressure to make everything nice.
Under pressure.
Like literally.
I was totally about to do that, Jay.
That is the fucking dude. Like, that's the mission, though. That's what I was talking about earlier.
It was
that's
the mission.
Mm-hmm. You don't stop. You don't get tiny heart syndrome and fucking quit just because shit just got hard.
Yeah.
You fucking keep going.
Yeah, and the fight was between an NCO and an enlisted. It was crazy. Jackets came off and everything. It was crazy. And
I've been privy to a couple of those in my
yeah.
And I've seen NCOs go at it. I've seen
showed up to a couple of those to fucking put people
Yeah.
in handcuffs.
Yep.
It's so interesting to me because when tensions are high, the first thing they say is, I'll take off my jacket and I'm not an NCO no more. And I'm just like, no, you're still a fucking NCO. Don't
fucking do that.
don't
you
do
do
that. Like, please stop.
That's just like in the civilian world. Cops like, I'll take my belt and my badge off and I'm not a cop anymore. It's like, no, you're still a fucking cop.
No, you're definitely still a cop. Like,
I'm a fucking cop.
So, if I can fight better than you and I whoop your ass, I'm still getting fucking assault on a fucking officer charges.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
the
law is extremely black and fucking white. Here.
Kind of
There's no gray.
And that's another thing. Like, you
know?
really see some interesting, like, okay, you see some full hua guys, you see some mid hua guys, and then you see some guys who are not even checked in, and those guys who are not even checked in. Yeah. Listen, you're just checked in as a cook.
And let me tell you, if you ever watch like two like full hua guys like go at it, dude, like when those guys get in fights, dude, like it gets scary. It gets fucking scary. And it's like,
oh,
did I tell you guys about the time I saw like two?
It's like throwing a green crayon into the middle of a bunch of fucking Marines.
Bro, dead ass. Like I saw two squad leader, but at the time like platoon sergeants. They were staff sergeants at the time, but they were like squad leaders / platoon sergeants because of the freaking, we were still plussing up on numbers and stuff. And like they started going at it in the field, and like they had to be like held back and shit by like their boys and stuff. Like the boys like started separating them and stuff. And then the fucking company commander came out and fucking took him back to his tent. And like, it's hard to describe like the way military tents work. Like they actually shield sound pretty well. And our company commander was not the biggest guy. He was kind of short, but I heard his voice fucking through that. I heard his voice through that fucking tent, yelling at these two staff sergeants. And I'm like, I had just reclassed. I mean, I'm like 6 months into being an infantryman. I'm still trying to learn shit. You know what I mean? And like, I'm sitting out there and like, I've got my squad. Like I was a squad leader as a fucking, like I was a squad leader, but it was like, this is like the company commander chewing out two platoon sergeants. And I was like, so this is what it's like in the infantry, huh? Like fucking like when you watch like two fucking like big ass bulls just fucking start like doing this shit. And you're like, yeah, I'm just going to fucking step back and watch this one because I'm not involved. You know what I mean?
It's so interesting how open a lot of like leaders are open to argue in the open because and it's not wrong, it's in the military. Yeah, in the military, it's not wrong. And it's like it's the one thing that I've always loved about the military is that these guys, they don't bullshit each other, man.
No, tell you straight to your face, like fucking no, you suck. No, you suck.
Yeah.
Fucking well, you suck because of fucking A, B, and C. Well, you suck because X, Y, and Z. And be like, all right, motherfucker, what's up then? And that's and full stop right there. That's exactly how it starts, and that's usually how it ends too.
Yeah.
I had an
NCO.
Next word coming out of my mouth is a fucking fist to your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a female NCO that I cursed out. I cursed her out in the DFAC in front of everybody too. And for at that time I was a private. I was just a regular. I wasn't even private first class. I was a private. And
now, were you fuzzy or 2?
I was 2.
Okay, so you at least had fucking insignia.
Yeah, I had insignia. I had something. And
you weren't that much of a private.
Yeah. So the context was my wife was pregnant with our 3rd child, and this NCO was just like, I have 3 kids. Why can't your wife go to the appointments by herself and do all this stuff? And I remember my NCO kind of looked at her and was just like, what are you talking about? And he kind of just walked away from that. And when he walked away, I was just like, I'm firing at this woman. And And I remember looking at her and I was like, you don't know what it's like. There's no help. My family's all the way in New Jersey. We have nothing. Da, da, da. And I started saying things that I probably shouldn't have, you know, saying, yeah, and I remember saying, and I remember just cursing her out. And my other NCO came up to me. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, she's a fucking cunt. I don't need to be here. And then and I will say this time it was a very stressful time because I was getting chaptered out because of my weight gain. And then they lost my paperwork, which is a common thing that happens in the military, and I ended up finishing up my time. But yeah, there are just some people, and I will say, including myself, don't mind letting emotion out into the wild and letting people know how they feel.
It's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's what I would call like it needs to be done properly. So
yes.
Like take me for example. I wear my heart on my fucking sleeve. Take a look at my face, and you'll probably see what kind of a fucking mood I'm in, right? Like not hard to do, right? When I get over emotional, that can interfere with my professional behavior. That can interfere with my decision making in the heat of the moment. Like if I got to do something or everything's flying at me and I'm really stressed out, no. And it's like, but then I have to make an actual decision about something. I'm like, no, fuck that. No, fuck it. No, fuck no, bro. Fuck no. Right? It's like, no, Jay, like chill the fuck out, bro. Like just because your fucking your Cheerios got fucking pissed in this morning and you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and there's meteors flying down, from the sky. That's not the answer to that question at all. Like you have an actual decision to make and you need to make it responsibly and in a professional manner. You don't get to treat the fucking universe like your personal fucking like, pocket pussy just because you're in a fucking bad mood.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of, and you have to take, your ego has to take a step back from that. Cause anytime we're all human beings, dude, we're fucking apes. When we're in a bad mood, we're in a fucking bad mood. And I don't want anybody to fuck with me. Leave me the fuck alone. Everyone, the whole world can fuck off. The universe can burn. And I don't care, right? But that's a bullshit fucking attitude, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
That's acting like a fucking 2-year-old during a fucking tantrum. That's not what we are. Now, when that happens to fucking 2 people at once, and they start doing this, right? Like, that's where it gets fucking spicy. And that's kind of like the incident. By the way, both of the people that I was describing are still in. They are amazing fucking NCOs. Both of them are fucking badasses. I would follow either of them fucking like into hell any day of the week. It was just a fucking they were both having a bad day in the field. That was it. You know what I mean? And in the infantry, and I'm sure Joe can attest, in the combat arms world, you are surrounded by people who are going to be hua. Not everyone's hua. If you want that shit, go to the Ranger Regiment, right? Yep. Not everyone's hua, but the higher you go in the hierarchy of things in the combat arms world, you're going to be surrounded by nothing but hua. And eventually people are going to fucking butt heads. And we do it.
And sometimes a little bit of hua is a little nice. All right.
Need it. You need that shit. I used to tell my fucking, my students, I've said it before. I used to tell my students in BLC when I was an instructor, I was like, you don't have to fucking chug the Kool-Aid. Okay. It's not about drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, but if you're going to stay in the Army, if you're going to do, another fucking, if you're going to re-enlist, if you're trying to make 20, at some point you got to take a sip. You don't have to fucking slam the shit. It doesn't have to be this fucking like rocket fuel burning fucking like race to the finish. It's not. It's a marathon. And in a marathon, you're not sitting there fucking slamming fucking Gatorade the whole time you're running. You make it fucking several miles. Then when you're actually like thirsty, fucking take a couple fucking gulps, fucking pour some shit on your fucking head and make it a couple miles more. You know what I mean? And that's what you do. It's a marathon. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really, that's the Army. I mean, that's just like, if you want to make it in the military world, like, dude, a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is luck. Yes, some people lose their careers because they fucking got stationed at the wrong place.
Yeah.
Out of basic training. You know, I wonder how many fucking like sergeants major we lost or generals we've lost because like their fucking career sucked like at their first duty station and they were surrounded by a bunch of fucking like dickheads. You know what I mean? And they were like, fuck this, I'm out. You know what I mean? Deuces.
I always wonder like what could have been if I had decided to go to Korea. You know what I mean? I know it would have been devastating, you know, because they had told me your family's not coming. And it would have been a test and a challenge for me, but at the same time, I had newborn babies. It wasn't the time. It wasn't the time.
And that's the Army.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and kind of the obverse of that. I mean, I missed the birth of my child so that I could reclass to the infantry. You know what I mean? Like I did that. I did that exact thing. And then the next 4 years, was a goddamn like, you know, shotgun blast, dude. Like it was just like 4 years fucking like went by.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, what? Like turn around, like all of a sudden I got like two more deployments under my belt, and I'm like about to be a freaking instructor, and like oh shit, like what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh shit. You know, so like you're not wrong, dude. And I don't necessarily think you made the wrong decision. I think
I'm happy now. Look at me now.
That's what I'm saying. Like everything we do takes a toll, and you have to, you know, you try. You might not always succeed, but you try to count the cost before you make the decision, right? And in the Army, oftentimes that's hard to do. Doesn't necessarily mean you regret it, but at the same time, it's like, no, that one was fucking pricey. That was a pricey choice right there. But then again, like that also begs the question, like people have to ask themselves, like, why did you join then? Or like, did you just join to do like a contract or two, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
People do that to get their education benefits, benefits.
There is so nothing wrong with that. I'm fully on board with that shit, and I agree with it fully.
I would rather have someone stay in for the 4 or 5 years that they want to be in,
and do a good job,
instead of be there for 9 years and be unhappy after, you know, a certain threshold, you know. And it's like, because you could tell, like some soldiers, the regardless of rank, sometimes they could bring the morale down, and they could.
I've watched that happen on when I was a mechanic and when I was in the infantry. I saw that. Yeah. I saw individuals, straight up individuals, just shatter the foundations of like entire fucking like formations, dude. Like where it was just like, bro, like you're not that cool. You know what I mean? Like you like dude, like why though? Yeah. Like I'm all about this, that, and the other, but like you're taking shit to such an extreme that you're breaking everybody. You're breaking everything. You're breaking everything. It's like, dude, like if shit ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. Right? Like that's a life philosophy that I will never freaking like not espouse.
Yeah.
It's like fucking like, I watched it in the Army. I can't tell you how many times in the Army, like,
yo, I'm just thinking
the platoon, the company, the whole fucking battalion. You know what I mean? I watch individuals just like break shit.
You know what was morale breaking for me? And this is gonna be funny. When I got to Fort Benning, it was the day that everyone came back from Kuwait from their deployment. So I had a couple days of pretty much like not doing anything because the unit wasn't even there. It was just doing a lot of paperwork, going around my NCO. 4 months later, after they came back, their shit came back from Kuwait, right? Mm-hmm. In the connexes, there was nothing more demoralizing to me than having to wait for shit that wasn't even mine and take it out of a connex and look for my NCO stuff with him not being there and him saying, this is a list of my stuff. It has my name on it. And when I brought him that list and told him that all his shit wasn't there, it wasn't a good day. It was not a good fucking day. So
where was it?
It was a lot of push-ups because that
No,
stuff.
no. Where was his stuff?
It was in a whole nother connex on the other side of base.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had to do push-ups for that.
Yeah, it's your fault, John.
Yeah,
Fault.
when they give the work to you, it's no longer their fault anymore. That's what I love about the military. But I made some good eggs. But I mean, look, I mean, shit, man. So we are going to be live next week for Christmas Eve. We're gonna, yeah, we are going to do a quick little powwow, you know, and kind of reminisce. The compilation, the best of, is just about done. I just need you to give me just a couple more things before I close it off. You know, from you guys, not from anybody watching. You know, the 3,000 fans that are here today.
Right.
You know,
and the millions.
It's actually funny. My daughter showed me a picture of The Rock painted on the rock today. But anyways, you know, yeah. But yeah, you know,
gosh.
we are going to be live for Christmas Eve, and then we'll do yeah, and then we actually have New Year's Eve. Is that actually that's Sunday too?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Are we gonna do an early live show that day too?
It's like I don't see why not. It's fucking New Year's Eve, so like nothing happens till the fucking midnight anyways, right?
All right. So yeah, so so for the last 2 episodes of the year, we're gonna just talk. I kind of feel like we're transitioning into a new, more a more meaningful
That's what we
format.
do now, anyways. Is
Yeah.
just talk. So
Yeah, and I mean it's getting better because now we're starting to talk. We're talking more shop, and that's always what I wanted for the show, is to talk more shop. So it's nice to. I mean, this was fun. This conversational episode that we had today. This was really nice, and things that something, you know, there are negatives. There are negatives that people don't realize that are out there, and you know, we'll talk.
Well, like we said, you have to count the cost. You have to count the cost. It is okay to roll the dice.
Yes.
Every once in a while, it is okay to gamble. It's okay to take a huge gamble sometimes. Yeah. But make sure you count the fucking cost. You have to be prepared to lose. Like, yes, it's good to be confident. Yes, it's good to know you're going to win. Cool story. But if you're going to gamble, if you're going to roll the dice, count the fucking cost first and make sure you are prepared to deal with the ramifications if you lose. It's like I reclassed from mechanic to infantry when I was 33 fucking years old. That is a fucking gamble. That was like a huge risk.
That was an eon ago.
Dude, we're talking like sink or swim. Like there is no fucking middle ground here. You will either fucking rise or you will fucking fall. And it'll happen quick. It'll happen quick if you fall.
You're right.
Like I could like one blown out knee, bad back, you know, like fucking, you know, just regular training injury could have just immediately ended my career. You know what I mean? Like I was in my 30s, and that's a risk. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
what's the cost? Like, do you want to win or do you want to lose? Because you're gonna have to roll the dice either way, right? So,
do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be uncomfortable?
I'm not.
You know what I mean?
I'm not rolling the dice just to stay where I'm sitting right now. I roll the dice to freaking like to move forward. You roll the dice to move forward. Like freaking, I wasn't gonna make it as a mechanic. Freaking, I wasn't gonna go nowhere in fucking rank. Like, I was gonna be bored. I was gonna fucking hate my life. I saw it. Like, saw it when I was in Afghanistan the first time. I was like, fuck. It's not what I wanted to be doing.
We're just playing life at New Game Plus at this point now.
Dude, I'm such a habitual life failure, dude, but yet I keep failing upwards. So
failing upwards is better than failing downwards. So I'll take that. Bro.
I didn't join the fucking army until I was 29, dude. Like, I just kind of gave up fucking spinning my tires in fucking Tucson, Arizona. You know what I mean? Like, failing upwards, just failing upwards, dude. Like,
hell yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are. And I mean, and here we are to the final moments of this episode. We got 2 episodes left of the year, man. And you know,
it's been a very interesting year.
Yeah, and it's very, and you know, I know this is again, the holidays are always the hardest. And Squilini, if you don't mind, I just want to say, I know this is a hard time for you, and we want you to know that we love you, man. And even if you need, I'm getting a little teary eyed right now, kind of talking about it right now. And Squilini, if you need to talk to somebody, you can always, you know who to call.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes for anybody listening, watching, skipping over to the end or whatever. This is, this was an interesting year, and we lost a lot of good ones, publicly, privately, personally, family wise. There is still a lot of grief that people are going through, and people grieve in different ways. People grieve for years, people grieve for days, and people don't grieve at all. But it is human nature to have emotion. It is human nature to grieve. It is human nature to be sad and depressed. It is human. It is truly human nature just to go through these emotions, and you're not alone in those emotions, in those feelings, in those days. We love you here on DD214 Network. We love everybody that's been coming in, whether it's like one person just hanging out, or 7 people, or 14 that one time, or the 140 something that listened to that one episode. We are here for you. We are here for each other, and we love you. And guys, make sure you hit 988. You don't even need to put the star in it no more. Or you could dial 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. They're here to listen to your story today. They're here to talk to you today. They're there to save your life. If no one else is there for you, or if you just don't or if that cloud is just kicking your ass. So do you guys have anything to add before we end this?
I think no. I think what you said is very succinct, and it's true. Like I like what you said, the cloud, because it can get very overwhelming sometimes, and we get kind of stuck for a few hours or a day or a week, and it will pass. Like the one thing we can always promise you is that we'll pass. And the only secret to life is living to see another day. So just make sure you see the sunrise that next day. Okay, keep going forward. We ain't going nowhere, and that's yet another reason why we do this every week, every 160 hours, and why we do it live. We are here, like that is our job, all the way until the day it is not. But it will not be because we got too caught up in our own cloud. So, love you guys.
We love you. Man, yeah. See you next week. We are not passing out coal next week. We are passing out love. So, get your bags ready.
There might be a little coal involved. It depends on how bad Jay acts.
I'm telling you, I don't start shit, man. It's always their fault.
It comes his way.
They always started with me, dude.
Yeah. See you in 168. And remember, leave bullets and cookies out for General Santa.
Fucking A.
Nice. That was beautiful, guys. That was beautiful. Oh yeah, hell yeah, we did it. We did it, and we did it hard.
I think we're still live, dude.
Oh, what?